What is the dumbest way you injured yourself? Assumed a stapler was empty because I saw someone attempt to use it. Then they put it back. It was jammed. Tried to trick my mate into thinking I was gonna staple my face. Miraculously unjams, and to a group of people it looks like I just felt like stapling my face. The only black eye I've ever had, I gave to myself while playing Wii boxing. Won the game though. I forgot that I had legs, so I slammed the car door while my leg was between. Slammed my finger in the top of the door to my Jeep. I was stuck and I couldn't pull it out. Had locked the door and dropped my keys at the same time. It was really hurting. I was just able to reach my keys and unlock the door. It hurt so bad. Nail turned black and blue and eventually fell off. Deleted. I found a big stick in a field and threw it like a javelin. I didn't think about the fact that it was L-shaped, so it hit me in the back of the head and I fell over. Edit. Sorry. To make it clearer, I am left-handed. Link. Watched my grandfather cut open a golf ball to show me what the core looked like. After he did it, 7-year-old Ricky decided to replicate the feat. Some key differences. 1. He put it in a vise. I used my soft fingertips. 2. He used a power saw of some kind. I don't remember. I was 8. I had my dad's handsaw. Needless to say, the shape of the golf ball and my inexperience with tools led to more blood than I had ever seen in my short life. My dad tore his ACL putting on a sock. Was sitting on the bed. Went across his legs to put the sock on. ACL just popped. I was using a butter knife to scrape excess wax out of a little glass Christmas candle. The glass shattered. The knife went right into my palm. Blood everywhere. Yep, I stabbed myself with a butter knife. Trod on a rake cartoon style, so it stood up and hit me in the face. Twice. The same day. I heated up my pan of oil and lazily plopped my steak in my cast iron pan. Sprayed hot oil all over my face. Thank God I have glasses. Had some splotches right where my eyeball would be. Fucking I idiot, I was right then. When I was 10, I gave myself a pepper cut because a little kid asked what one was. When I was 8, I was swinging on a swing and I had an idea to jump off it. I jumped too late. Flew 2 meters in the air and landed on my right arm. I couldn't move this arm for a week. I was around 11/12 years old. I was in the I wonder what stuff I can use to assist in jerking off stage. So I was taking a shower and I see the different lotions and such, so I figure I give it the old college try. So I take some shampoo and I start using that. It didn't work that well. Oh well, I thought. Finished my shower and got out. The next morning I wake up and go to the bathroom. Ouch. All the skin on my dick was burning. Cracking. Severe pain all over. Peeing was not fun. Getting an erection was the worst. I had no idea what was wrong. But of course fear kept me from getting help. I did eventually ask my dad. He wasn't able to tell much other than nothing was seriously wrong. I showered again. I was fine. The problem? I forgot to wash the shampoo off my penis. At a frat party I was so drunk I tried to slide down our 2-story stairwell, and when I went to climb on it I fell off the other side. Somehow didn't break any bones, but I couldn't walk right for a week and my entire right thigh was black and blue. An old friend and I found this old refrigerator in his backyard. Had the bright idea to start hitting it with an axe and sledgehammer for shits and giggles. As it fell apart I attempted to pull the sheet metal off and sliced by the back of my hand. I somehow didn't realize I cut myself and got bored, so we started throwing a football. About 5 minutes later I felt my leg get all wet and looked down to see my hand wide open and about past TF out at the sight of all the blood. 32 stitches later I'm left with a nice scar on my hand. We were like 15 at the time. I played rugby for 6 years. Mostly as a loose forward and never had any injury whatsoever. Maybe a nosebleed or black eye once or twice per season. But nothing serious. I have been on crutches for a week, torn my meniscus, and nearly separated my AC joint. I'm talking couldn't put on shirts or take them off right for weeks. All from ultimate frisbee. The irony absolutely isn't lost on me. Rode my bike straight into a pole. Stitches were had. Also, I bent the pole. In kindergarten our teacher took us to the park that was across the street from the school. In there she devised a contest about who could climb a tree the fastest. This wasn't a very good school. I won. And since all the rest of the kids were also on the tree, I ended up being the highest one. We pretty much looked like this, Link, and then this incredibly talented teacher decided, once we were in that position, to do the same contest but this time to see who would get down the fastest. She underestimated my genius. I won by jumping down and fracturing my arm. Transferred schools very shortly afterwards. I cut my head open on my friend's ceiling when I was younger. There was a lower part to the ceiling and we were running around. The edge hits me on top of my head and I start bleeding pretty bad. Went to the ER and got 6 staples. When I was like 4 or 5 I was at my babysitter's ranch. I lived in Wyoming and was hanging out with my sister and the 13-year-old babysitter's son. We always liked to climb up this shed with a wavy tin roof. It rained recently. I slid off, landed on a rusty nail. Edit. There was a large red gash on my thigh and I still have a kinda scar there to this day. Back in the day when you pumped up Nerf guns, I was in the toy store checking them out. I pumped one up until it wouldn't pump anymore. When it wouldn't fire, what did I do? Look down the barrel and pulled the trigger, of course. Caught a suction cup dart right in the eye. Point blank. Sharpening my finger using a sharpener. And amp. X200B. And amp. X200B. Edit. I did not expect that many people to have the same as me. Also thanks for the 704 points. You guys are the best. Eater. For those requesting more stories, be sure to check out all of the thread comments below. Some of them are hidden behind one-off comments. Eater 2. I'm so glad you all enjoyed these stories. If you guys and gals wanna hear an even funnier story, then someone needs to start to what's the most awkward date you've ever been on post. Accidentally opened the car door into my head, hard, when I was 11. Gave myself a concussion. Jumped into the pool awkwardly and cut up my side from my waist through my armpit into my elbow on the pool bricks. Used a shoelace instead of a guitar strap. It broke, as did my toe. Tossed my skimboard out into the water in front of me. Ran full speed to catch up. Skimboard embedded itself in the sand, which caused me to kick it with all my might. Broke a different toe. Reached in a snake cage to pick up a pissy 7-foot carpet python. She expressed her displeasure orally. Shocked, I regrouped and reached right back in to pick her up. She bit me hard that time. Reached in a mangrove monitor's cage to pick him up. Thought I had him securely. I did not. Ended up with him latched onto my knuckle. It's still swollen to this day, 20 years later. The list goes on. I burned my urethra because I had run out of soap in the shower and figured I could wash my genital area with Scope mouthwash. Let me tell you something. I can still feel the pain 22 years later. It felt like someone poured lava into my piss hole. Don't know what I was thinking. Popped my tailbone out of place. Sneezed while picking up a Pop-Tart wrapper off the ground. Slipped getting in the car and slammed my head in the door. Another stapler story, but I didn't manage to staple myself. I wish I'd stapled myself. Used to be a teaching assistant and was making a big boat for a display and decided to staple on an edge all the way around. The stapler was pretty stiff, but I just assumed it was an old, rubbish stapler and went the whole way round, 200 or so times, like I was doing CPR. Turned out someone had put in staples that were too big for the stapler. My right wrist hurt a lot afterwards, but just thought it was tired. When it still hurt a couple of weeks later, I had an x-ray. They thought I'd broken it and put it in a cast for another couple of weeks. After that they decided I hadn't and sent me on my way. Though still in pain, here I am, coming up to 6 years later. I can't bend my hand back more than about 30 degrees unless I force it, and force means pain. Push-ups are impossible. I actually had a first aid course today involving doing CPR, and know I'm in for a couple of weeks of pain. TLDR. Permanently screwed up my wrist by using the wrong size staples. I was attempting to remove a seed from an avocado while holding it up with my hand and using the knife down on seed then twist method. Apparently, the avocado was so ripe that the little amount of pressure from holding it up was enough to pop the seed out like a pimple right as I was bringing the knife down. In my surprise, the knife changed to a stab position instead of a slice, and it went through the avocado and my hand. 3 stitches later, between my index and middle finger, my husband bought an avocado seed remover tool and banned me from using knives to remove them ever again. Edit. Grammar edits. Removed. Went running during the Colorado winter. After 4 miles, my dick started to hurt. I tried to tough it out, but it got so bad I had to go back inside. When I went to take a shower, I noticed the tip was white and it felt like a tater tot. Turns out you can frostbite your dick. Strained a back muscle pooping. Threw my back out making my bed. I missed 3 days of school work. Couldn't get out of bed or even roll over onto my side. Hurt for another week or so after that. I told my boss I injured my back playing football. Was using scissors to cut paper into bits, going faster and faster, until I snipped off a bit of my left pointing finger. When I was 12, I fell backwards off a bunk bed and broke my arm. I did it 2 hours into a week holiday at Rottnest Island, Perth, Australia. Had to take a jet back to the mainland, then back to the island to spend the rest of a holiday in misery.